Well, I think, Garish, the defense was handicapped by a few factors going in. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell had spent upwards of $5 million on her defense. And in the end, I think the defense petered out. They only presented witnesses over the course of 2 days. They had gambled on the fact that the judge would allow several of their witnesses to speak under anonymity because these witnesses were concerned about their reputations and did not want to use their real names in court. The judge denied that. And so the defense was left really with their star defense witness, a false memory expert who talked about the fact that these women from many years ago might not have remembered correctly Maxwell's involvement. So I think they were hurt in their defense presentation.
Yeah, and that defense witness you were talking about used the so-called Bugs Bunny theory to discredit the case.
Yes, that's correct. I think that this is an expert that had testified in a major Me Too case here involving Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein. That same type of strategy did not fly. He was convicted. I think in this Me Too era, it's very hard to attack the credibility of these sexual assault victims.
Barry, there are reports saying Ghislaine herself held up her hands up in despair at one stage, looking like as if it looks like it was aimed at her defense attorneys. What does this tell us about her confidence, given she refused to testify, arguing the prosecution had no case?
Yes, the judge at the very end, with the jury away on their lunch break, asked Ghislaine if she wanted to testify on her behalf, if it was a decision, even if her defense attorneys did not want her to make, but she felt that the prosecution had not presented their case enough, strongly enough for her to testify. So she declined. I think that, she's fighting for her life here. I think it was a gamble not to testify in front of the jurors. There's 7 women, majority of women on the jury, 7 women and 5 men, and it's possible she might have appealed to some of them. However, the cross-examination from the prosecutors really would have been extremely difficult for her.
So, Barry, when can we expect the closing arguments, and what do you expect from the prosecution and the defense?
Yes, the judge is going to begin instructing the jurors today after the closing arguments. We think that's going to conclude by the end of the day tomorrow, Tuesday, and this case will likely go to the jury before possibly by the end of the day tomorrow, which means they may return a verdict before Christmas, which is the 60th birthday of Ghislaine Maxwell. She, of course, faces 70 years behind bars. So this is really, we're getting down now after she spent 533 days in jail awaiting the trial, 33 witnesses over the course of the 15-day trial. We're getting down to 0 hour here. And we'll see if, in fact, while justice could not be served against Jeffrey Epstein, if indeed justice will be served against Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner in crime.
And whatever happens tomorrow and whichever way the verdict comes about, surely there will be an appeal one way or the other. So are we expecting then this to sort of drag on into 2022?
Oh, I think this case will. There is going to be litigation on this case for a very long time. Maxwell still faces 10 years behind bars for perjury counts, the fact that the prosecutors claim she had lied in a deposition. So it's possible that trial may be set after this trial concludes.
And given that we are getting closer to a verdict, how much public interest is there? Has that been growing in the past days and weeks?
Yeah, I mean, this here, because of federal court issues in New York, there are no cameras in the court. I think that if there had been cameras in the court, Certainly, this would be a bigger case among Americans in terms of viewership, but it is getting front page news here in New York.
And Barry, I do have to ask you as well, whatever the outcome of the trial, another book in the works?
Well, we'll certainly see how this one concludes. This is a fascinating case. There's so much out there, and I think that we still don't know so many of the answers as to how many other powerful men were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring. And the question is, we know the FBI is sitting on a ton of material in terms of files and photographs. Will the public ever get to know what are in those photographs?
Hey, watch this space. Barry Levine, really good to speak with you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.